Hi everyone, good afternoon. I can see quite a few people have joined in for today's session on desk yoga. So thank you all for being a participant and a part of our audience today. Welcome to today's session brought to you by Healthy. My name is Tara. I'm the moderator for this session. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. If you can, please type yes in the chat box that you see on your right. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Go ahead and let me know that you can hear me well. And of course, if you have any questions, you can definitely type it out in the chat box, and I will convey the same to our expert for today. We encourage questions, but not during the session, please. We would like to avoid any interruptions to the pace and flow of the exercises and the asanas. But you can definitely raise your questions at the end of the session as well. And do follow the instructions that you can see on your screen right now. Again, I hope everyone can hear me. If you cannot hear me, I would request you to please disconnect and then rejoin again. Possibly just a network connectivity issue at your end, because I see a couple of people, oh, more than a couple of people have actually sent me positive responses that you can hear me well. That's great. That's great. So let's introduce today's expert. We have Ms. Shrishti with us. Shrishti is a certified Ashtanga Vinyasa teacher. Her expertise Sorry, I think I just got disconnected there for a minute. So I just wanted to introduce Ms. Shrishti. Shrishti is a certified Ashtanga Vinyasa teacher. Her expertise includes Hatha Yoga, Power Yoga, Pranayam, and of course, desk yoga. She has conducted many such yoga sessions in India and abroad for various corporates such as IBM, Vodafone, Infosys. We are very grateful to have Shrishti with us today. Before we begin the session, it's important that I ask if anyone in the audience has any medical condition, or perhaps you're pregnant or have recently given birth to a baby. Please let us know in the chat box so that I can inform Shrishti so that she can keep that in mind. It's important that we are aware of any medical conditions that you may possibly have. So again, I'll give that a minute for you to type it out in the chat box. You can, of course, opt to stay anonymous, and we will definitely protect your confidentiality. So while those comments come in, I would like to hand over the session to Shrishti. Shrishti, over to you.
Hi everyone. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. If at any time during the session there's any technical issues or there's something that doesn't make sense, you can always write on the chat box and Tara will convey that message to me. I'll just take a quick minute, say my name. My name is Srishti and I'm very excited to be here, share this small routine with you guys. I think desk yoga or just chair yoga, any kind of yoga actually can be super beneficial, whether you do it for 5 minutes or you do it for 50 minutes. So I hope this is helpful to you guys. Maybe you can pick up a few things that are something that bother you personally. Maybe it's the neck, maybe your shoulders get stiff, maybe your lower back gets tight. So maybe you can pick up a few exercises that you can incorporate into your daily life. Whether again you do it once a day or whether you choose to do it multiple times a day, completely up to you. But doing it even as little as once a day is super beneficial in the long run. It keeps your energies high. It keeps you more focused at work and just honestly leaves you just feeling a little bit more energetic at the end of the day. So you have more energy to spend time with your loved ones rather than just kind of being tired throughout the day and then wanting to go home and chill or staying home and chill. So yeah, I'm going to invite everyone to find a nice, comfortable seated position. If you can, bring the soles of your feet on the ground. And if you can even more, maybe you take your shoes or your slippers or whatever you're wearing off and just find a nice connection with the ground, the carpet. Maybe you're in the garden, wherever you are. Just finding that connection with the ground. Bringing your hand on your thighs. So two different things. Completely yogi's choice. So if you are looking for something a bit more grounding, something to just kind of pull you back into reality, keep your palms facing down on your thighs. If you feel like you want to invite some energy into the body, just have a little bit more active practice and you're inviting just energy from your environment, keep the palms facing up towards the ceiling, gently resting on your thighs. Find a nice tall spine. So you're reaching up from the crown of your head. Imagine that you're trying to touch the crown of your head to the ceiling. You're going to elongate your spine. And then gently just closing down the eyes. Taking the next few minutes or the next few moments to just arrive on your chair, ready to do your practice.
Hi everyone, I think we're facing some technical difficulties. Please give us a minute. Shrishti, I think you're on mute. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Could you
So
hear
sorry
me before,
about that.
or was I just on mute the whole time?
No, we could hear you. I think it just happened right in the middle. Sorry about that. I would request you to start once more. And if you could go back a little, we have a comment, two people who have requested to see your feet position to understand how to connect with the floor.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me know, guys. Anything like that, please do let Tara know. And if for some reason you can't hear me, please let Tara know again. Okay. Shaking it off, letting it go, just letting go of this technical difficulties, which always happens. So just kind of let it go. Closing the eyes down, bringing your feet to the floor. You're just placing the soles of the feet on the ground. Nothing complicated, just placing it, choosing what you want from your practice today. You want a grounding practice, you turn the palms down, place them on the thighs. You want a slightly more energetic practice, you open the palms up towards the ceiling, invite energy into your body. Tall spine, reaching up from the crown of your head, and just gently closing the eyes down. Starting to bring attention to your physical body. Just starting from the crown of your head, slowly doing a quick body scan, checking in with the body to notice what feels a little bit open today and what feels a little bit stiff. Not really stopping anywhere in your body, just scanning down, just noticing and observing what's happening. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. There's no judgment. Just observing how we can use our body in our practice today. Just slowly making your way all the way down to your toes. Feeling that connection with the ground. And then just gently bringing your attention to the breath. Noticing when you inhale, does your chest rise first or does your belly? If you can't feel anything, maybe bringing one hand to the chest, one hand to the belly, and just observing the rise and flow. Again, we're not trying to change anything, we're not judging, we're just noticing where we are before we start our practice. Taking deep inhales in and complete exhales out. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Maybe tuning into the sound of your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. With every inhale, feel the breath entering through the nose, making its way down the chest and reaching the belly. Every inhale expands the belly, making it as big as it can be. And as you exhale, bring the navel close to the spine, as the breath makes its way up through the chest, the throat, and then out the nose. Inhale, feel the breath enter through the nose, down the throat, making its way all the way down to the belly and pushing the belly out. Exhale, feel the breath leave the body through the belly, chest, throat, and nose. Continue breathing like this for a few more rounds. Maybe adding an element of visualization. So as you breathe like this, I want you to think about a teacup. Imagine when you're pouring tea into the cup, the bottom fills up first and then slowly makes its way up the top. So imagine that your belly is the bottom of the cup, and as you're breathing, you're filling up the bottom first, expanding the belly, filling it up completely. And as you exhale, you're slowly using your belly, maybe even a little bit of your hand to push the breath out the belly, out the chest, throat, and nose. Keep breathing like this for the next few moments. When we breathe like this, pushing the belly out, we use the entirety of our lungs. Usually when we're engaging in shallow breathing, that is just breathing through our chest, we only use the upper half of the lungs. And our body works on a lose it or use it principle. So if we don't take the time to use the lower parts of the lung loses its capacity, it loses its stamina. So it's important that we at least take 5 to 10 minutes every day, or even more if possible, to breathe by pushing the belly out. Really using the lowest parts of the lungs to push the diaphragm down, and that's what makes the abdominal expand. As you exhale, the belly pulls in, the abdominal pushes the diaphragm up, and the breath is exhaled through the lungs, out the nose. Few more rounds of breath here. Feeling the lungs expand, belly expand. Exhale, feel the toxins leave the body. Just checking in to see if you find that you've slouched. Maybe your spine has rounded a little bit. Straightening up from the crown of your head, reaching up, just taking the shoulders slightly back. Two more rounds of complete breath. Last one in. As we move through our practice today, we're going to try to maintain this breath. I want you to get familiar with the different sensations you have in the body as you breathe like this. Bringing the hands to heart center, joining the palms, bow the head down, feel light stretch at the back of your neck. Slowly start to rub the palms together, creating a little bit of heat in between. And when you start to feel that warmth in between, bring the hands in front of the eyes, don't touch your face, and gently blink the eyes open into your palms. Slowly welcome yourself back. We're going to start today's session from the top of our head and then slowly make our way down our body so that we stretch out a little bit of everything. And you know what to do going forward, whether you want to target the whole body or there are specific places that you'd like to target. You can use different exercises to do that. So just starting gently with our heads, keeping our palms on our thighs. As we inhale, slowly look towards the right side. Moving slowly and then moving mindfully. As you exhale, bring the head back to the center, looking towards the front. Inhale, turning over towards the left side. I want you to use the entire length of the inhale to bring you towards the left, and then the entire length of the exhale to bring the head back to the center. If you think you're moving slowly, you can move even slower. As you inhale, turn over towards the right side. Stretch it out. Exhale, come back to the center. Inhale, looking over towards the left. And then coming back to the center as you exhale. Changing it up. On an inhale, we're going to look up towards the ceiling. Stretch the front of the neck. As you exhale, slowly bringing the chin down to the chest. Feel the length in the back of your neck. Maybe feel a little bit of a stretch in your upper back. Inhale, lift the head up, taking it all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, chin comes to the chest. On your next inhale, coming back to the center, and then just wobbling your head from side to side with control, moving slowly and with mindfulness. Bringing the head back to the center. On an inhale, you're going to interlace the fingers in front of your hands, in front of your eyes, and slowly bring the hands on top of the crown of your head or just behind your neck. You're going to bring the chin down to the chest, elbows come together. Just be mindful that there's no extra weight on your head. You're not pulling yourself down. The weight of the head, the weight of your hands and gravity is enough to create a stretch in your upper back. So no extra pressure pulling the head down, just gently placing the hands on top, squeezing the elbows together if you want to intensify the stretch. If you don't want to and this is more than enough, don't squeeze it in. Just look down, chin to chest, feel that stretch spread across your upper back. Breathing here, deep breath in, deep breath out. Still feeling the belly expand as you inhale. Feeling it collapse as you exhale. One more time. On your next inhale, slowly start to roll the head up, bring the hands down to the ground, bring the hands back to the sides, lifting yourself up. You're going to still interlace the fingers, bring them in front of you, and then switch the palm around to turn them towards the camera or the front. So you're extending your arms, you're reaching up with the crown of your head. On an inhale, you're going to take the arms up and overhead, maybe taking the biceps beyond the ears to feel an opening in your heart, in the shoulders. As you exhale, bring the hand down, round the back, round the chin, form a small semicircle, maybe like a turtle going back into its shell. You're pushing the palms away from the body and you're bringing the chin down to the chest and rounding your upper back. Inhale, straightening the hands all the way up towards the ceiling, straightening the spine, reaching the heart forward, taking the biceps beyond the ears. As you exhale, round the back, chin to chest, hands come forward and low. Moving like this on your own breath. Continue to inhale to take your hands all the way up. Using the entire length of the inhale to take you to the peak pose. And then when there's no more breath left, making it all the way down on the exhale, using that entire length to bring you down. That might mean different things for different people. The length of our breath is all different. So move like this for 2 more rounds of breath on your own count. Feel the opening in the shoulders, feel the opening in the heart. Last one down, exhale, round the back. And then on the inhale, take the hands up and overhead. Fingertips are facing towards the top. You want to create space in your side body. So think about your rib cages, how they're stacked on one on top of the other. You want to create space. Imagine by stretching out, you're really creating space in your side body. As you inhale, reach up. Feel that space. As you exhale, we're going to twist over towards the right side. So bring the left hand on top of the right knee. The right hand comes towards the back of the chest. You're twisting over the right side. Breathing here on an inhale, keep reaching up at the crown of your head. As you exhale, twist towards the right side. Use that left hand to push into the leg to help you twist over the right shoulder. Breathing here, taking 3 full breaths. Deep inhale in, strong exhale out. Inhale and exhale. Deep breath in. On your next inhale, bringing the hands back towards the center. We're going to twist over towards the other side on an exhale. So take the left hand behind you. The right hand is going to place itself outside of the left knee. Inhale, find length in your spine. As you exhale, twist over towards the right side. The left side, I think. Inhale, extend from the spine. Exhale, twist. Use the right hand, push into the knee to help you twist even more. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, feel your belly expand. Breathing out, feeling it collapse. Slowly on an inhale, finding your way back to the center, extending the hands up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, we're going to bring the hands down and forward. We're trying to connect the belly to the thighs. So take it all the way forward as much as you can. And when the belly connects to the thighs, allow the upper body to be heavy and drop the head towards the ground. You should feel a nice decompression in your lower back, especially if you're someone who sits for a long time in the day. When we do that, we dump a lot of our weight into our lower back. So when we take the time to do forward folds and just stretch out our back body, it feels great because we're decompressing and releasing all of the weight that we've been putting on it the whole day. So dropping the head down, maybe even feeling a little rush of the blood. Staying here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Keeping that head hung low, start to lift yourself up using your upper back. So round that upper back, imagine that there's someone who's put a hook in the middle of your shoulders and is lifting you up. Keeping that head hung low, lift yourself up just using your upper back, coming up 1 vertebrae at a time. Straightening up from the lower back, the mid. Slowly the upper back spreads wide, shoulders spread wide, and the head comes up. Taking the hands all the way up. Make sure that there's gap between your ears and the shoulders, so you're not kind of crunching up here. You're finding length in your neck, pulling the shoulders down. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Pausing here for a moment, closing the eyes. Starting to tune back into the breath. In case we lost the breath somewhere, we're just coming back to it again. Noticing where we're breathing from. If the breath has slowly made its way up to the chest, taking this time to pause and bring it back to the belly. Gently bringing the eyes open. Let's extend the hands in front of us. Create a fist. And we're going to slowly start to add mobility and a little bit of strength to our wrists. So start rotating the wrists in any direction that calls you. Be mindful that you're only rotating your wrists. So try to isolate the movement rather than taking the entire arm with you. Let's try to isolate the movement only from the wrist. The wrist joint is one of the most overused and undertaken care of as a joint. Think about it. When we're typing, when we're on our phones, we're always using our wrist to hold on to our devices. If you've had enough of this direction, just switch it up towards the other side, moving slowly, moving mindfully. We also use our wrists the most when we're driving or just anything, right? So you're more likely to get carpal tunnel syndrome if we don't take care of our wrists. So just adding a little mobility every single day, maybe just before starting your day, you can just do a few of these rotations and just make sure that the wrists are mobile, they're fluid. Bringing the palms together, interlacing the fingers, start to make a figure of 8 or an infinity sign, whichever one works better for you. Isolating the movement to the wrist. Again, we're not trying to use our whole elbows here. Maybe we squeeze the elbows together and then try to rotate. Going in one direction, starting to tune into any cricks and cracks. If you're feeling anything, just try to smoothly work your way through them, breathe through them, and then slowly switching the direction. This might feel super weird going in the opposite direction because one side comes a little bit more naturally to us than the other. So it's even more important to make sure we actually do both sides and not just get comfortable with what we already know. Few more rounds of just rotation. And then extending the hands back towards the front. We're going to squeeze our hands, and as we make them as a fist, we're going to point them down. As we inhale, we're going to extend the hands up towards the ceiling. Fingertips are reaching out, and we're pushing into the bottom of the wrist. The bottom of the palm is reaching forward. Slowly, as you exhale, fist comes down. Really squeeze your fist tight as you can make it. Inhale, extend the palms, spreading the fingers as wide as possible. Bringing it down, fist, wide arms, fist, wide arms. Continuing like this for 10, 9, squeezing as small as you can, 6, 5, 4, spreading as wide as you can for 3, 2, 3, continuing for 5 more, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you're starting to feel it in your forearms and your wrists, then just shake it out. If you weren't feeling it yet, maybe you do another 20 more rounds and then you meet us here. Shaking it out. I was feeling it a lot, so I am done. Shaking it out completely. Let's bring the palms to heart center. Bringing the thighs together, we're going to twist over towards the right side. So inhale, reach up from the crown of your head. You're energetically reaching up. As you exhale, we're going to twist over towards the right side. The left elbow is going to hook outside of the right knee. And we're going to push up palms together to help us twist over towards the right side. Maybe we take our gaze all the way up towards the ceiling. Maybe we take it even beyond the right shoulder to look beyond. Squeeze that left elbow into that knee. Push the palms actively to help you twist. Breathing here for 3, 2, and 1. Bringing yourself back to the center. We're going to twist over towards the left side. The right elbow is going to hook outside of the left knee. Use your palms to push into each other. Create a force that's going to help you twist even more towards the left side. Breathe here. Reach forward to the crown. Spine straightens. As you exhale, we twist even more. For 3, 2, and 1. Bringing yourself back to the center. Slowly just starting to close the eyes down. Doing a quick body scan like we did before to notice if anything feels a little crunchy in the body. Does anything feel a little bit different from when we started our practice? Maybe something feels a little bit more open. Maybe something still feels a little stiff. Gently blinking the eyes open. We're going to do a stretch for our hamstrings. So I'm going to ask you to just perch yourself gently on the corner of on the tip of your seat. Sorry. Extend the feet towards the front. Be careful, a little bit more mindful if you have wheels on your chair like I do. So we're just extending the legs and the toes are facing towards you. So you're actively pushing into the heels. You have a straight spine and slowly on an inhale, you're going to slowly make your way down towards your toes. See how much you can stretch, how much you can bring the belly towards the side. So I don't want you to think about trying to bring your I don't want you to think about trying to bring the forehead towards the leg, the forehead towards the knee. No, we're reaching forward. I want you to think about trying to bring your chin all the way down to your shin. So think about belly to thigh, chin to shin, and feel that extension in the back of your leg. Breathing in, extend forward, reach forward with the crown of your head. So imagine that someone's pull a string on the crown of your head and they're pulling you forward, straightening the spine. And as you exhale, maintain that straight spine and slowly bring the belly down towards the chest. The chin comes to the shin. Breathe here. Breathe into the backs of your legs. For 3. Fixing the gaze in one spot, trying not to look here and there. And focusing on your breath. Focusing on the stretch. Inviting some discomfort into your life. Maybe grow a little bit. We all have to be uncomfortable in spaces to grow. Whether that's professionally, personally, physically, mentally, emotionally. Inhale, slowly start to roll up your spine. Keep the head hung low. Start to straighten from your lower back, your mid back, and then finally your head comes up, shoulders spread wide. We'll do one more little movement, a little bit of shoulder opening. Most of us, when we're working, we start off nice and tall. This is 9 a.m. in our day, we're working, and then slowly as the time goes along, we slowly start to slouch, and the shoulders tend to turn inwards. So whether or not you do any other exercise that we just went through, I'd highly recommend you taking the time to do this one because most of us, if not all of us, have internally rotated shoulders. And that's mostly because of lifestyle. We text a lot like this. We scroll through our phones with our shoulders turned in. We drive like this. If we travel by metro, we're all just kind of crammed up or used to be crammed up like this. So take the time to open up the chest, open up the shoulders to really reverse everything that we put our body through. So a quick simple stretch for this. If you have a table nearby, bring your hands together so the palms are facing each other. We're going to place the elbows on top of a table. If you have a wheelie chair, that's great. Otherwise, just slowly you can stand up and do this as well, both ways. Slowly, as you inhale, push your hips back and slowly start to sink the chest forward towards the ground. You'll feel a really intense opening on your shoulders there. So hold it there and breathe into that opening. For 5, 4. Should feel nice and juicy, reaching all the right spots, turning it around. For 2. And 1, slowly start to round your back, pull yourself back. Slowly bringing yourself back to a neutral spine. Whew. Closing down the eyes. I'd like to share with you a technique that I've always used and I think has been super helpful to calm the brain, like just to calm the mind down, especially when things are starting to get super overwhelming. You know, when your to-do list is kind of just piling on and nothing is getting crossed off, but things are just constantly being added. you have to go from one call to the next, and you're just starting to feel a little disorganized, a little overwhelmed. Maybe you're starting to feel your heart race a little bit. So I use this pranayama technique, which is called Bhramari, or the humming bee technique, which I'd love to share with you guys, and I hope one day kind of helps you guys out too. I hope everyone's hands are clean. If not, now is the time to just go quickly sanitize, because we are going to be touching our face. So I'll give everyone about 10 seconds. Hopefully everyone has sanitizer around. But anyways, go sanitize now real quick. In the meantime, I'll just talk about the benefits of Bhramari and how it works. We basically hum the humming bee, like the sound of a humming bee. We hum that with our hands on our face. So we use our thumbs. Don't do it now because you won't be able to hear me. But we use our thumbs to plug into our ears, and then bring our index finger on top of the eyebrow. Middle finger comes under the eye. The ring finger comes on the upper lip, and then your ring finger comes at the bottom. You plug the thumbs into your ears, and for 10 rounds, we're going to hum. So you're going to take a deep inhale in. I'm just going to show you what it's going to sound like and look like. You'll inhale, and when we hum, we'll make the sound of a bee. So it's you'll feel a vibration inside. And when we do this for 10 rounds, you'll constantly feel the vibration within. The way that this works is that your body is actually 70% water. And when we create these vibrations, it's actually the same way how even sound healing works, if any of you have experienced that. We basically create a lot of vibrations within the body, so we get the water moving. And once we have the water moving and we stop buzzing or stop humming, we just sit in silence for the next few moments and feel those vibrations within the body. It's super calming, super relaxing for me. We'll find out how it is for you. So hopefully everyone has cleaned their hands by now. So let's start together, bringing your index finger to your eyebrows. The middle finger comes under the eyes, the ring finger upper lip, and then the bottom finger is on your lower lip. Before we plug the ears in, we're going to do this for about 7 to 8 rounds. If at any time you lose count in your mind, just do 2 more rounds and gently bring the hands down back to your sides. Find a nice spine, keep the eyes closed, and just feel those vibrations for the next few moments on your own breath, on your own time. Let's bring the hands to the face, slowly plug it in. Let's exhale wherever we are in our cycles of breath to come together. So push any air out. Take a deep inhale in. Let's right side out loudly through the mouth. Inhale. Close the eyes down, plug the ears, and start to hum. Tuning into the sensations of your body, noticing your breath. Gently blink the eyes open. Welcome yourself back. Maybe we're feeling a little bit calmer, a little bit more cooler and collected than we were before. Maybe nothing has happened, and that's possible too. I'm going to finish the class by just kind of noticing what's going on in the body. If anything needs any little movement, we're going to just take a few rounds of walks around our room. So I invite all of you to kind of just stand up, shake it out. Just shake out anything, any part of your body that doesn't maybe feel good, just shaking it out. And start to walk around. Notice what's happening in the body. Notice what feels a little bit open, what's not feeling good. If any exercise that you want to do more of, any exercise you don't. Just noticing these things in your body as you walk up and down. Taking small steps. It doesn't need to be a big space, but just maybe even walking around our table. Just releasing any tension in the body that comes from sitting down for a long time. So I guess my one recommendation to all of you would be that even if there's nothing that you can do, take 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute from every hour to just walk around. Give your body that break from sitting. We're not meant to be seated for this long. So whatever you do, even if nothing else, this is something you should definitely try to incorporate as a habit. Let's take one round around the block one more time. And then slowly, surely find our way back to our seat, coming back to work with a refreshed mind, coming back to our table with a fresh mind. So I think we have about 15 minutes left, which I've left for any questions, answers, if anyone has anything specific to ask regarding the exercises that we did or anything else that they might want to learn.
Thanks, Shrishti. That was a really good session. I'm sure everyone enjoyed it as much as I did. We have a couple of questions. So I didn't want to interrupt you during the session because we did tell the audience that we wouldn't be taking questions during the session. So let's begin with question number one. In the sitting position, is it important only to bring the feet together, or should the knees also be together?
When you're doing, I would suggest bringing the knees together as well. It depends on what you're actually trying to do. So If you're doing the forward fold, I'm assuming it's for when we went down specifically. I would say it can be either way. You can keep your legs apart and then go down, or keep them together and then go down. If the question was regarding the twist that we did, then I would recommend keeping the knees together, squeezing everything in, because it just gives you more space to twist rather than keeping your legs apart. It's harder to tuck it out when the knees are apart as well. If there was anything else that we did, otherwise, just whoever's question was that, if you can just specify which asana you were talking about.
Great, thanks. The next question is, for the shoulder exercise, do the feet need to be apart or together? I think something similar on similar lines.
The opening shoulder one, when we were doing this, the feet can be together or apart. Yogi's choice. The only thing I would say is keep a small micro bend in your knees if you're standing and doing it. So if you're sitting, it's completely fine. Feet can be together, feet can be apart, doesn't matter. If you are doing it from a position where you're standing, then the only thing, again, doesn't matter if your knees are together or legs are apart or together. The idea is to stretch out the lower back, and the idea is to open up the shoulder. So your feet don't matter. The only thing I would say is keep a small micro bend in your knees in order to protect your lower back. And that I would say for every asana, to be honest. Don't ever kind of lock out your knee. Keep a small micro bend, completely fine. Actually, in fact, helps to even intensify the stretch even more. We all have a tendency to think that we have to kind of go maximum to feel the stretch the most. That's not true. If you actually keep a micro bend in your knees, you can stretch more effectively. So try that, try both of those and see how that works for you, but also works for protecting the lower back. But question was, doesn't really matter if the feet are together or not. We're not targeting the feet, so it doesn't matter so much. So same thing with the forward fold, same thing with the shoulders. Depends on what you're targeting. Feet doesn't really matter so much. Different people have different anatomies. Some people might prefer feet closed. Some people might prefer feet apart. See what works for you.
Great, thank you. Next question, which of the exercises you showed is good for the upper middle back?
Upper middle back. So when we did the seated cat-cow, so when we went up and then we rolled it down, that's super nice for stretching out the upper back and the middle upper back. Same thing of stretching it out. Both of those are really nice. Same with the shoulder opening, because it opens up the back a little bit more. And what else did we do? Yeah, those two primarily do target the upper back. And if you want to just stretch out the upper back, then interlacing the fingers, placing it on top, you should feel that nice stretch in certain upper parts where you can't usually get into.
Great, thank you. The next question is, any specific exercise for back neck pain?
So I'm guessing this is coming from someone who's sitting a lot, crouching a lot, because this used to happen to me a lot when I was working. What actually still happens to me a lot. Like I said, reverse the shoulder opening. That's what's actually causing this upper back, this tension over here. Correct me if I'm understanding your question wrong, but that's where I'm imagining you're feeling the tension, is that connection between the neck and the upper back. And that's happening because we're dumping a lot of our posture like this. So 2 or 3 things I will recommend to you is, one is get a strap if you can and just tie yourself with your chair. Really effective, because every time you find yourself slouching, there's something that reminds you to stay up. You don't have to do it throughout the day because it's unrealistic to actually sit like that, but maybe you take half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the afternoon to just actually sit like that to make yourself remember. The trick to good posture is awareness more than anything else. Think about it. Like, I'm sure many of you just probably realized you're slouching and you just straightened up because there was that moment of awareness. Someone pointed it out. So what you want to do is slowly increase those moments of awareness for yourself to fix that posture. So once you fix this, then a lot of that tension kind of goes away because your muscles are working to hold that tension. When we droop, the muscles aren't working. The skeletal is working more than the muscles. So I would say open up the shoulders, really even just take the time to, I guess, rotate the shoulders and use your table to open it up. Super, super effective for both for just kind of opening up this area that we kind of tend to put a lot of tension on. Try that.
Great, thank you. Before we get into the next few questions that we have, I would just like to inform everyone that we have placed a link in the chat box, which is to gather feedback, and I would request you all to fill in the form, and it will really help us improve our services. Thank you so much. Next question, is there an eating restriction before or after these yoga exercises? To answer that, I can definitely inform you that we did tell you to not eat 90 minutes before the session, but I think, Shrishti, what can they do after these exercises?
So after these exercises, you guys can do anything. There's no eating restriction post. The only reason that there isn't a restriction eating prior is because we're doing twisting, which kind of massages your organs. Same thing when we do a forward fold, it's kind of opposing gravity. So that's why I would recommend not eating before, just because you are playing around with your organs a lot. And you are going against gravity, so you don't want the food to kind of come back up. So 90 minutes to like 120 minutes, good amount of time to kind of just digest anything heavy that you might have had. You can still have, let's say, a banana if you're like really, really hungry, or an apple prior to, but just kind of try to keep it light, tide the hunger over. And if you can, avoid eating altogether so you can eat a massive meal post-exercise. So yeah, nothing after.
Great. I think we just have about 2 more questions. Let's go to the penultimate one. In the twist position, what if I'm not able to bring my hand till my knee?
That's fine. So if your elbow is not reaching your knee, that's fine. You can even just place your palm and have that and just twist. So what we're doing here, whether it's the elbow or whether it's the palm, we're just using a force to help us twist more. So if this doesn't work for you, just bring the left hand outside of the right knee, or just bring the hand outside of the knee, press the palm into the knee to help you just twist over. That's it. Simple, simple.
Great. I think this is the last question, and I would encourage anyone else, if there's anyone in the audience who still has a question, to please type it out now before we end the session. So the next question I have is from a gentleman who says, I have a lumbar L4, L5 pain after prolonged sitting. Can you suggest some exercises?
So I would suggest all of the exercises that we just did. I would suggest if you know that you specifically have pain in these regions, if there's some kind of an injury that you've had or anything like that, I would definitely recommend speaking with a doctor or a physio. But if it's just general back pain in the lumbar region, then I would suggest strengthening your core a lot, because your front body supports the back body and vice versa. So if you strengthen the back body, then you have the strength to support your back body. You can always work on also strengthening your upper back and stuff, but for the back region, I always recommend working on your front body. So start working on your core, lots of crunches, sit-ups and stuff like that to support the lower back. Because what happens is when we don't have a strong front and we don't have a strong back, we tend to dump. We dump into our front body. And that's what kind of causes a little bit of a pain, and that dumping is what causes pain in the back body. So if we're able to strengthen it up, then we can use our front body to support the back body as well to prevent that kind of pain. But like I said, if it's something in particular where you know specifically that it's this specific L1, L2, I would recommend speaking with a doctor or a physio to get a clearer understanding.
Okay, great. Shrishti, thank you. I think there are no more questions, and we did give a minute for everyone to type out in case they do have any questions that they are holding on to. But seems like this was a good session. We've received good feedback. Thank you so much, Shrishti. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. I hope you had fun. Do let me know if anything else comes up later in mind. I'm happy to speak to anyone about anything.
Thank you, Shrishti, and thank you, audience. I'll be ending this session now. Thank you. Bye-bye.